Hey guys, back with another video, this time on Absolver. So Absolver is a new fighting game by Slowclap, where you can build your own deck out of more than 100 barehanded and sword moves in the game. Now, building your own deck in Absolver might seem daunting at first because of how many moves there are in the game and how they all flow differently into each other. However, there are a few different things you should take note of when building a deck before going into combat trials to fight other players. So, the most important basics of deck building are that you want to have at least one chain that starts with a fast attack or a charge attack. Why? Because this way you can interrupt if they attack. So with this deck, I use back trip kick to interrupt any of their combos and then lead into my own combo. And it also leads back to back trip kick. This allows me to, when they're trying to pressure me, relieve pressure by dodging both their high attacks and their jabs, using the trip kick, as well as start my own pressure by beginning my own chain by gold linking back trip kick into my own combo. Now, following this, you want to have one chain that you can rely on that links back to itself. This way, if you encounter an enemy that is weak to your pressure, you can just keep gold linking the chain, as well as using feints and alternate attacks to mix it up so they can't just predictably use their defensive ability on you, and get continuous pressure on them. Now, you want your ults, so your alternate attacks over on the right here, to cover the weaknesses in the chain. For example, in this chain, I have ults that cover the weaknesses of the chain itself. So it goes that, and then I can go into a low attack instead of following up with the high attack that it normally has. This way, if they use a normal attack or a jumping attack, they can dodge it, but that wouldn't be dodging the normal part of the chain, so they wouldn't normally be using high attacks. So I just follow up instead of using the normal attack. I can then go into a low attack, and this puts me into a different part of my combo as well, into a different part of my chain. So I can then follow up with a high damage attack or a guard break. Using your ult to cover the weakness in the chain is essential. So if we go to my main deck, you can really see how this works. So here, I start with a high jumping attack from the left. Then it follows with a low attack from the left, and then a high attack from the left again. The ults start with, instead of going low on the left, it goes high on the right. And instead of then after this, instead of going high on the left, it goes low on the right. This way, people that try to dodge to the right or the left get caught by both my chains, and Forsaken cannot just parry on one side. This is very important that you use your ults to cover weaknesses in the chain, not just like this, but also with stuff like guard breaks. If you only have a chain of fast attacks are stamina negative. And what that means is that if all they have to do is block, I will lose more stamina using the combo than they will blocking it. But if you throw in a guard breaks, while they do use a fair amount of stamina, deplete massive amounts of stamina from them. So if they block that, they will lose a lot of stamina. And then I have that followed up with a high damage attack afterwards. So if I do break their guard, I can get in guaranteed damage. So another part of that is you want to alternate your attacks. Because of how Forsaken and Windfall work, Forsaken where they can just guard to the left or right, and Windfall where they can dodge, jump, and strafe to both sides, you want to be able to catch them going to both sides. So I've set this combo up to be all from the left if I'm just using X. So if I'm just using my basic attack, it's all from the left. But as soon as I throw in ults, they start coming from the right. And then even my guard break also comes from the right, which is also an ult there. And you don't have to go left, 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 right, right, right. You can go left, right, or left, left, right, right. But you don't want it to be predictable. You want to be able to catch them trying to predict what you're doing, and then use an ult to change what you're doing and hit them again. The same goes for jabs and sweeps. So a jab and a sweep can both be dodged. Jabs can be dodged with low attacks. Sweeps can be dodged with low or high, depending on the sweep. And sweeps are good for catching dodges. If they're dodging to the left and right, a sweep can catch that. A jab will not. And if they're just going high or low, a jab can catch that, whereas a sweep might not catch it. Jabs can also almost always be ducked going low, so it's important to have your ults for jabs to be low attacks. A good pattern to follow are low, high, low, low, high, low, low, or jab, sweep, jab, sweep, or mix them up with ults. Also, try to include answers in both your ults and your chains. So what I mean by an answer is something that can answer something an opponent does. For example, a strafing attack moves you to the side, which dodges thrusting attacks such as jabs. Whereas jumping attacks dodge low attacks, and then if I use this and then that will dodge the high attack afterwards. You can also use stoppers and breakers to stop charge attacks and cult, although cult do not get stopped by stoppers, only by breakers. And double hits, so that right there, like such as whirlwind punch, will also block charge attacks. So it's important to have a few answers to charge attacks in your combo, just because charge attacks are so ubiquitous. Lots of people will just spam charge attacks. There are decks that literally just spam charge attack into charge attack into charge attack. So each of those would have been a charge attack. And if you have a deck that's nothing but spam, you're going to lose to a charge attack, because a charge attack, they'll take 50 or 60 damage, or even less if they've got good armor, in order to deal 120 to 130 damage. And that's a losing trade for you every time you take it. Now, you also want to have a central game plan, and what this means is that you want to have something that your deck excels at. A common example is lots of fast attacks with breakers mixed in. And what this allows you to do is you keep up the pressure. They're doing nothing but guard. They can't dodge, they can't use their ability. And then you hit them with a breaker. And all of a sudden, they're broken, and you hit them with another powerful attack. And then you reset, and you keep up the pressure. A charge attack deck is another sort of central game plan where you stack health, you stack armor, and you just try to use your charge attacks to stop their spam and basically out-trade them. Having a central game plan is important because if your win condition is simply I'm better than they are, you're going to have trouble against people that have built their deck with answers and know how to beat your game plan. And this is also why it's important to have answers in your deck, as having answers to different sorts of common game plans you see will allow you to take them down. Maybe not necessarily if the player is good and also has answers to the answers you have in your deck, but if you have a deck without answers and they have a deck with answers and their answers beat your deck, you're probably going to lose, even if you are better than them, unless you're a lot better than them. Following this, it's important to play to the strength of your style. So not just your game plan, but your style matters as well. For Windfall, which is what I'm playing right now, you want lots of quick, fast attacks, as well as a few quick, powerful attacks. And that's because Windfall can use their avoid. So this ability is not actually dodge, it's avoid. A dodge is when you just hit B on the Xbox controller. It's got different buttons, but a dodge is big. An avoid is just small. And an avoid will stop their stamina. It'll actually reduce their stamina and give you stamina on a successful avoid, as well as slowing down the attack. And this lets you hit them with a quick jab or other attack to start your combo and begin your offense off their offense. Cult does well. Cult is the opposite. They do well with really slow-hitting, powerful attacks. Cult does really well with charge attacks, as well as other slow attacks, because they can use their absorb to stop your combo, or just absorb a slower hit in your combo, and then use a powerful charge attack, or attacks such as high spin kick, or jumped spin kick, to slam way more damage than they receive back into your face. And then Forsaken's kind of in the middle. Forsaken, their parry allows them to get off powerful attacks such as sidekick, but it does not allow them to get off powerful attacks such as jumped spin kick or flute swing. It only allows for about 100 to 120 damage, I believe, as a max punish, unless you've got a well done string that you can get to from anywhere that can do about 150 to 160 damage. But it can be difficult to build your deck around that, so most Forsaken will get about 100 damage off a parry. Stagger is very similar to Windfall. They do well with stagger attacks, no wonder. And they also do well with quick attacks that can interrupt the opponent's momentum. That's how Stagger plays. Finally, it's okay to kill off your Sacred Cows. So if I go back to the original deck, you can see probably one of my favorite combos. Just make sure I've got it here. Oops, sorry, wrong deck. Yeah, here it is. So one of my favorite combos in the game is low spin heal into 360 tornado kick, and that links back onto itself. And this can be very punishing for some people. especially if they keep trying to use a low or high attack to deal with it and keep guessing wrong. However, your Sacred Cow does not always synergize properly with the deck you're trying to build. And it's important to realize when the deck you're trying to build does not fit one of your favorite moves. Just because you really like, say for example, 360 Tornado Kick, does not mean it's right for every deck. It is a somewhat slower move, it's got very good damage, but doesn't have as good damage as Spinning High Kick or Jump Spin Kick. And while it is strong, it can be hard to fit it in properly into certain places of the deck. Low Spin Heal can fit a bit better, but even that, you don't need that in every deck. Your Sacred Cows, while they might work for you, sometimes the deck will work better without them, just because you're forcing them into the deck, and you're causing weaknesses in the deck that you're not addressing by having those moves in the deck. For example, in this deck, the main problem is that if someone moves around, they can switch your stance on you. And if they switch me to my top right stance in this deck, I have the very slow 360 Tornado Kick, as well as my Guard Breaker, neither of which are fast attacks. So if they're using a quick combo deck, or if they're using a charge deck, and I accidentally use this, my 360 Tornado Kick, which does not break charge moves, they are going to be getting lots of free damage on me. So that's why I had to switch away from this deck. Your Sacred Cows, it's great to have moves you love, and it's great to build around moves you love, but if a move is holding your deck back and you notice other players are really punishing you for using that move, it's important to realize that moving away from that move can improve your win rate. Anyways guys, that's the basics of deck building in Absolver. Hope you liked it, and subscribe if you like it.